Chapter 41 Decided to Hunt, The Power of Mutant Sword Grass. Please read it. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hearing Su Yu's inquiry, Jing Hongchen breathed a sigh of relief. Being able to ask this question at least shows that Su Yu is still rational and is still in a stage of judgment and weighing. Smile, please tell me specifically about the effect of the protection of the world of mortals. The simplified version of the protection of the world of mortals was transformed into the protection of the world of mortals by Mirror Hongchen. After Xiao Hongchen recalled carefully, he began to describe the effect of Hongchen's protection. The protection of the mortal world is effective. He said as he recalled. However, the effect of the protection of the world of mortals can only be said to be a drop in the bucket for absorbing 10,000-year soul rings. The protection provided by red dust protection is only effective for 3 seconds at most, and it can be triggered 3 times at most, which is 9 seconds. The 10,000-year soul ring's soul vibration intensity is at its peak for at least 3 minutes. It cannot be denied that every second can become a crucial factor and create miracles. But 9 seconds is still too little for 3 minutes. To really hold on to this idea is no less than gambling, and 3 minutes is only the peak intensity of the soul shock. After these 3 minutes, there will be a longer and equally terrifying mental shock. Su Yu heard a meaning between the lines of Xiao Hongchen's words, give up, too dangerous. 9 seconds. Su Yu nodded, his expression relaxed a lot. Hongchen's shelter is a 7th-level soul guide, and its protective strength can definitely prevent the soul shock of this mutated sword grass. 9 seconds, according to Xiao Hongchen, was too short compared to 3 minutes. But in Su Yu's perception, these 9 seconds are enough, even very long. What he was worried about was not whether he could persist after 9 seconds. What he was worried about was that the moment he absorbed the soul ring, he would be killed by the explosion of mutated sword grass. The sword intention of the mutated sword grass is pure, and even the impact on the spirit when absorbing the soul ring is stronger and the explosive power is extremely strong. This is explained with more concise data. For other 20,000-year-old soul beasts, the soul vibration intensity is 2 and the vibration duration is 3 hours. The strength of the mutated sword grass may be 4, 5 or even 6, lasting 1 minute, and then the strength changes to 1 for 3 hours. What Su Yu was most afraid of was this unreasonable outburst. It would be really frustrating if Yi Lao was killed before he could wake up. 9 seconds of resistance should be enough. The Sea of Spirits has suffered a fatal impact, and Yi Lao will definitely wake up as soon as possible, and when Yi Lao wakes up, everything can get back on track as planned. Seeing the change in Su Yu's expression, Jing Hongchen felt heavy in his heart. Su Yu, don't be brave. The soul ring of this 15,000-year-old mutated sword grass is no less difficult to absorb than the 20,000-year-old soul ring. Hall Master, don't worry, I am sensible. Su Yu released his mental power. Jing Hongchen's eyes widened. The same goes for Xiao Hongchen. You. Xiao Hongchen pointed at Su Yu with an expression as if he had seen a ghost. Why is your mental power so strong? This intensity is even stronger than that of a quasi-level 5 soul engineer like me. Jing Hongchen also had an incredible expression on his face. Could it be that the mutation of your martial soul also involves mental power? Hearing Jing Hongchen's question, Su Yu simply nodded. It can't be said that a gray bead entered my brain. The sea of spirituality opened, and then I figured out the method of spiritual cultivation on my own, right? According to your mental strength, if you try your best, there is still hope that you can endure it. Absorbing soul rings beyond a certain level depends not only on the soul master's physical quality and mental strength, but also on the soul master's will. He has a strong will and can push through. Although there are not many examples of leapfrog absorption in the Sun and Moon Empire, there are many in Shrek. Shrek is not easy to detect, but not all Shrek students stay in the academy after graduation. The intelligence system of the Sun and Moon Empire is not so bad that it cannot even collect any information. There is hope that you can survive the soul shock, but can you withstand the impact of the soul ring's soul power? Don't worry, Hall Master. My teacher gave me 10,000 years whale gum. I also took 9 rank snow lotus. I also take body tempering pills on a regular basis. Moreover, my 3rd ring is nearly 6,000 years old. After hearing Su Yu's words, the corners of Jing Hongchen's mouth twitched. I know you're explaining your physical strength to me, but why do I always feel like I want to slap you? Mr. Kong is really willing to give up. The 10,000 years whale glue couldn't be a 10,000-year whale soul beast that he personally hunted, right? The difficulty of hunting sea soul beasts is completely different from that of hunting soul beasts on land. Ethnic distribution: live in the deep sea. There are generally strong men at or close to the 100,000-year level among the ethnic group. These 3 points have become the biggest difficulties. Anyway, Jing Hongqian didn't have the guts to specifically hunt down the 10,000-year-old cetacean soul beast. There are also 9-grade snow lotus. Jing Hongqian took a deep breath, and instead of continuing to dissuade Suyu, began to support Suyu. Since these resources have been used, we must maximize their effectiveness. Jing Hongqian decided to help Suyu hunt down this 15,000-year-old mutated sword grass. Now, the person who is most relaxed physically and mentally is Suyu. Suyu obviously made a very steady and rational decision, but Jing Hongqian and Xiao Hongqian still thought it was a life-threatening challenge. Also, the limit of a normal soul master's fifth soul ring is only a little over 10,000 years. Suyu's fourth soul ring will have to be absorbed beyond the level, and it will be so much more. Who will replace it? Possessed by martial spirit. Jing Hongqian released his martial spirit. This time, he used his martial soul true form. The seventh soul skill, Toad Avatar. The first soul skill, Golden Control. The second soul skill, Golden Boiling. Fifth soul skill, Gold Consolidation. Sixth soul skill, Golden Suppression. In the martial soul's true form, the power of all Jing Hongqian's soul skills is doubled. In an instant, 16 fixed soul launchers grew out of the giant toad's body. A heavy breath emanated from the mouth of the transmitter, the suppression of gold. The 16 launchers on Jing Hongqian's body exploded at the same time, and 16 rays of light blasted at the mutated sword grass from different directions at the same time. The 16 rays of light emit dazzling golden light. In the light, a force of suppression came. Is this a soul skill similar to gravity extrusion? That the soul skill was perfectly applied to the soul guide, even if he wasn't targeted, so you felt a strong sense of oppression. However, at the core of the oppression, a white light shines. The shocking sword light appeared, with the will to cut off all restraints and break all suppression. One sword breaks the sky. The suppressive power formed by the 16 suppressive shells was broken by the sword of mutated sword grass. Absorbing this terrifying explosive power may be more difficult than imagined. Jing Hongqian's heart was heavy, but at the same time he was also hopeful. Such terrifying explosive power can definitely bring Suyu a powerful high-explosion single-target attack soul skill. Chapter 42 Absorption. Yi Lao recovers. Please read it. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After the explosion, the sword grass reached its limit. True 1 second sword grass, the sword energy around it was mostly thinned, and even the sword patterns on the sword leaves were much darker. The transmitter on Jing Hongqian fired again. This time, the sword grass burst out and failed to break the suppression. Ferocious suppressive power erupted from 16 suppressive shells. The 16 shells themselves also form a linkage effect, and the suppressive force is not simply added. Xiaoyu, Suyu immediately used his soul skill. Bluesilver crit gun. The Bluesilver Grass gathered into a long spear and charged fiercely, piercing the root of the sword grass. The sword energy around the sword grass had been consumed too much at this moment, but it still blocked Suyu's blow. Suyu shot him again and finally killed him completely. A circle of dark soul rings slowly rose from Jiancao's body. This soul ring is deeper than the one Xiao Hongqian absorbed just now, and the soul power fluctuations in it are even more intense. Even if it hasn't been absorbed yet, there is still a sharp aura coming out of the soul ring. Suyu used his first soul skill to restore his condition to its peak. He sat cross-legged next to Jiancao's body and pulled the dark soul ring around his body. The power of the stars enters the body, and together with the soul power, it bears the impact of the soul power in the soul ring. Suyu felt a strong tearing sensation, and the terrifying edge was cutting through his body. It was as if thousands of small swords were destroying the meridians in the body. Fortunately, Suyu's vitality was strong, and the vitality of Bluesilver Grass poured into his body, and the damaged meridians quickly recovered. The power of the stars also took advantage of the process of soul destruction and vitality healing contained in the sword energy to be integrated into every part of the body, and the effect reached its peak. As for Soul Shock, with the soul ring on his body, Suyu instantly took the initiative to activate the protection of the world for the first time. He did not resist Jiancao's Soul Shock, outside world. As soon as Suyu started to absorb the soul ring, he activated the first layer of human protection. Jing Hongqian and his grandson both frowned. The absorption has just begun, and the protection of the world of mortals has been triggered. That Xiao Hongqian turned to look at his grandfather and asked. Grandpa, do you want to interrupt Suyu's absorption process? That the absorption of soul rings is a very complicated process, and interrupting it midway will cause serious damage to the absorber. The soul ring absorption failed. If it is not handled well, the soul power belonging to the soul ring will explode in the body, and it is normal for the soul master to die on the spot. The most important thing is that when a soul master absorbs a soul ring, it is not just his body that is connected to the soul ring. Even if the soul ring has been absorbed for 10 years or 100 years, the soul master's mental power is still connected to the soul ring. This is the passive effect produced by the martial soul in the process of absorbing the soul ring, and is not controlled by the soul master himself, and it is precisely because mental power is also involved that once it is destroyed, mental power will be hit harder than ever before. However, it was certainly not unreasonable for Xiao Hongqian to ask this question. The significance of the emergence of the protection of the mortal world is not just that it can provide an additional layer of protection for the soul master to absorb the 10,000-year soul ring in the future. In addition to protecting the soul shock of the soul ring itself, Red Dust Protection also hopes to protect the soul master's mental power as much as possible when the soul ring absorption process is interrupted, but this use is just a theory, a guess, and has not been verified. It's not easy to verify. It's too risky. Jing Hongqian shook his head. Don't worry, let's take another look. Anyway, we still have 2 chances. The expression on his face when he looked at Suyu didn't look like the protection of the mortal world that was passively inspired by being unable to bear it. Otherwise, even if Suyu's mental power is protected by the protection of the mortal world, his mental power will still be damaged at the beginning, and the fluctuations will be very violent. The fact is that Suyu's current mental power fluctuations are very stable. Xiao has made the effect of the protection of the world very clear. Xiaoyu wants to take the initiative to inspire the protection of the world. What are your thoughts? Is it to protect against the initial sword grass outbreak? However, the soul shock during the absorption process of the 10,000-year soul ring comes from the remnant soul of the soul beast during its lifetime. It's not just instinct, there is a trace of rationality. The Sea of Spirit, even though the remnant soul of Jianchao had a certain consciousness and did not explode the moment Suyu absorbed it, the soul shock was not late. In the sky above the Sea of Spirit, a bright white shield enveloped Suyu's Sea of Spirit. Waves of spiritual power hit the shield, causing ripples. Suyu's consciousness appeared in the Sea of Spirit. The 2 runes Condensation and Ju are now emitting a rich purple halo. After nearly a year of practice, the purple energy accumulated by Suyu in the 2 runes has become extremely rich. His mental power can be cultivated so quickly, and it is inseparable from these 2 runes. In addition to nourishing spiritual power, purple energy can also stabilize the spiritual sea. It can be regarded as a layer of protection for Suyu. Next to the 2 runes, there is a gray bead. Has Yi Lao woke up? Does it mean that my mental strength is too stable? Suyu looked outside the shield, and his mental power spread out on his own initiative. The gray beads above the Sea of Spirit trembled for a moment. Suyu also noticed this scene and was immediately relieved. Just 3 seconds, fleeting, the shield dissipates. The remaining soul of Jianchao finally seemed to see hope. In an instant, a spiritual impact carrying the edge of the sword energy poured in. In order to maximize the explosion, the remnant soul of Jianchao was completely integrated into this part of the power to completely kill Suyu. Suyu didn't panic. He didn't stimulate the second effect of Hongqian's asylum, just waiting for you to come in. Senior, I leave this remnant soul to you. Child, you are determined. Yi Lao's voice sounded in the Sea of Spirits. There were strands of gray air flowing out of the originally inconspicuous gray bead suspended above Suyu's Sea of Spirit. Jiancao's attack did not cause any damage to Suyu. Encountering Yi Lao's consciousness, Jiancao's remnant soul and the power he controlled melted like ice and snow. It's not a level of power at all. Thank you, Senior. You're welcome. Since I'm staying with you, I have to do something. Electrolux continued, just call me Yi Lao from now on. Yi Lao, if you absorb the power of his residual soul, can you leave some of it for me to temper my mental power? Electrolux fulfilled Su Yu's request. Fine. After seeing that Su Yu was still stable, Jing Hongchen breathed a sigh of relief. The protection of the mortal world did not activate again. Su Yu's mental power also fluctuated violently, but it was still within a safe range. The power of the remnant soul of the sword grass is not much, but it is very concentrated. After absorbing it, Yi Lao's condition was greatly relieved. After absorbing the remaining soul of Jianchao, Yi Lao began to pay attention to the outside world. What an amazing training system! Su Yu is now in the transformation stage of martial soul training and absorbing soul rings. Yi Lao felt the characteristics of Wuhuan cultivation most intuitively. Soul beast, martial soul, soul ring. Suddenly, his consciousness captured the body of Jianchao from outside. Ha! Chapter 43. That's it. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The corpse of this soul beast can actually condense treasures. There was deep curiosity in Electrolux's tone. Su Yu heard Yi Lao's voice and said in surprise, Yi Lao, is there really something condensed? Yes, there is an energy condensing in this soul beast's body, and it is even gathering the vitality of heaven and earth, but it is a pity that it did not succeed. Hearing this, Su Yu felt a little lost. Yi Lao, this is the soul bone, which is transformed into the soul beast after its death. It can exert better effects after being absorbed together with the soul ring. This sword grass may meet the conditions, but it does not fully satisfy them. Lao, since you can observe this step, I wonder if you can complete the condensation of the soul bones. After listening to Su Yu's explanation and adding his own observations, Electrolux also gained an understanding of soul bones. The condensation of soul bones should involve the rules of this plane. It is no longer something I can do. Electrolux's words gave Su Yu a new understanding of soul bones. The tearing feeling in his mental power brought him back to reality, and he was unable to continue thinking. However, although the process did not continue, at this stage, the energy in the corpse of the sword grass has developed into a very strange state. Maybe I can try to refine it. Electrolux has some knowledge about weapon refining in his mind. This soul bone cannot be condensed, but the energy in this semi-condensed light group that is about to dissipate is good. Maybe he can use this part of the energy to refine a weapon. Since it is sword grass, it should be refined into a sword. It just so happens that this kid also needs such a sword to correct his cultivation path. What happens? Jianchao's body suddenly changed, and there were fluctuations in soul power. Could it be a soul bone? Xiao Hongchen asked in surprise. Jing Hongchen's mental power had spread over, but he didn't find the existence of the soul bone. It shouldn't be a soul bone. Although I don't understand what happened, there is no doubt that these changes are related to Su Yu, who is absorbing the soul ring. A cluster of light burst out from the corpse of sword grass. Jianchao's body also turned into a stream of pure soul power and merged into the light group. The light cluster gradually developed into the shape of a sword. Before it was completely formed, the light group turned into a stream of light before Jing Hongchen and the two could react, and merged into Su Yu's body, which was absorbing the soul ring. Not good. Jing Hongchen couldn't react at all, and was shocked. However, as the light group integrated into Su Yu's body, it seemed that nothing unexpected happened to Su Yu, and he relaxed. What exactly happened will have to wait until Su Yu has absorbed it before asking. The light cluster blended in, and Su Yu felt its existence. It merges with the soul power of the soul ring that Su Yu is refining. Time flies. One characteristic of Su Yu's absorption of soul rings is that it takes a long time. Last time in the Star Do Forest, Su Yu gave up on extending the absorption time when dangers were everywhere. This time, with Jing Hongchen protecting him, Su Yu felt at ease. Su Yu is at ease, but some people are not at ease. It's been 3 days. Xiao Hongchen's tone was worried and puzzled. Su Yu's absorption of soul ring stabilized on the first day. Even Su Yu's reaction on the first day made him feel unreal. Obviously, the information says that overlevel absorption is extremely painful. However, even when Su Yu was in the most pain, it was not as scary as described. Xiao Hongchen could only think that the description in the intelligence was inaccurate. On the contrary, Jing Hongchen was very calm. Suyu's condition has always been stable, and both the fluctuations in soul power and mental power have become more and more gentle. With a soul ring of 15,000 years, the soul power will only be level 41 after the breakthrough. Moreover, Suyu seemed to be using this process to hone his mental power. During this process, Jing Hongqian could feel that Suyu's mental power became more and more condensed. Xiao Hongqian didn't feel that carefully. Another 3 hours later, the black soul ring outside Suyu's body finally flickered and then merged into Suyu's body, and as the soul ring was absorbed, Suyu also felt different. The energy of the light group that had been integrated into the body was refined with the soul power of the soul ring, but it has been accumulated in Suyu's body. The moment the soul ring was completely absorbed, this energy was integrated into the soul ring. Opening his eyes, Suyu saw Xiao Hongqian's curious face. You finished absorbing it. Suyu listened to Xiao Hongqian's narration and learned about the changes in Jiancao's body at that time. When Lao took action, he was actually ready. I don't know about this, but the sword grass seems to be completely integrated into my soul ring. Suyu summoned the martial spirit. The soul rings rise one by one yellow, 2 purple, 1 black. There seemed to be a sword light flowing in the last black soul ring. Jing Hongqian also noticed the difference in this soul ring. A flash of sword light flashed, and the sword light in the black soul ring seemed to be separated from the soul ring. A sword appeared in front of Suyu. Jiancao's body was completely integrated into your 4th soul ring and became a sword? Jing Hongqian asked in surprise. Suyu nodded and waved his sword twice. At that time, he was still discussing with Lao to see if he could integrate that energy into his martial soul or into his body. However, Lao's words woke him up. Although I don't know much about the martial arts system, I feel that your path is very correct. The most outstanding ability of your Bluesilver Grass is its tenacious life. Digging into this point and developing in this direction is the most correct path. The sword grass fused this time is also a key point in the transformation of your martial soul. There is no problem with your choice. The vitality is huge enough. At this time, you need the tenacity of the sword grass to condense the vitality and further enhance the life attributes. This is also more in line with one of the characteristics of Bluesilver Grass, tenacity. However, there is also a conflict between sword grass and your Bluesilver Grass. The tenacity of the sword grass is to fight against all difficulties and obstacles with its vitality. Bluesilver Grass is trying its best to absorb vitality. The sword grass is too sharp, while the Bluesilver Grass focuses on survival. Absorbing the soul ring of sword grass will inevitably have an impact on Bluesilver Grass. At this time, you need a carrier to bear this part of the impact on your Bluesilver Grass. Bluesilver Grass will thrive. There is no need for any attack power, sword energy, or the desire to kill all enemies. If there is, then it should be a means of protecting the road. Test your soul power. Jing Hongqian felt that something was different after Suyu's breakthrough. The vitality emitted by the Bluesilver Grass martial soul was no longer so surging, but gave people a restrained feeling, so he proposed to let Suyu test his soul power. Suyu took the soul power tester handed over by Jing Hongqian and entered the soul power. 40 level. Looking at the numbers that appeared on it, Xiao Hongqian was surprised. 15,000 soul rings, that's it. Chapter 44 Ultimate Attributes. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Remember to read the author's words at the end of the chapter. There are quite a few. They are included in the author's words. They do not account for the text count. Xiao Hongqian was surprised. His 5th soul ring absorbed a 10,000-year-old soul ring, and he felt like he was about to reach the 52nd level. The peak of the 51st level is about to reach the 52nd level. And what about Suyu? He absorbed 15,000 soul rings. Moreover, Suyu was only at level 40 before absorbing the soul ring. No matter how incomplete the absorption is, it should be able to reach the peak of level 42, or even reach level 43 if it is normal, right? Why is it only 41? Moreover, he has just reached the 40 level. It gives the impression of a possible fall. Compared with Xiao Hongqian's confusion, Jing Hongqian smiled. Really? Ha 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 ha. Jing Hongqian laughed, excited. Grandpa, so you just broke through the 1st level of soul power. What do you know, kid? After hearing Xiao Hongqian's words, Jing Hongqian slapped Xiao Hongqian on the head, hating that iron could not become steel. I told you a long time ago that the study of soul tools is important. but the root of everything is soul power. Not to mention the best in martial arts cultivation, but at least you can't understand everything, right? Xiao Hongqian felt aggrieved. Xiaoyu's martial soul has evolved to its ultimate attributes. Jing Hongqian grinned, still very excited. In the entire Douluo Continent, there are only a handful of examples of extreme attributes, and the ultimate attributes of each class. As long as they grow up, they are almost the characters who stir up the situation in the mainland. It's a pity that such soul masters always appear in Shrek Academy, but now it's different. The Sun and Moon Empire, the Sun and Moon Royal Soul Master Academy, has a soul master with extreme attributes. The strength of martial souls with extreme attributes is far higher than that of ordinary martial souls, but at the same time, there is a price to pay, that is, the cultivation speed is slower. The cultivation of ultimate attributes requires more concentrated soul power, and the cultivation speed is extremely slow between level 30 and level 70. Suyu only absorbed the fourth soul ring to transform his martial soul to its ultimate attributes. The missing part from level 30 to level 40 was made up by the soul power of the Jianchao soul ring. The ultimate attribute caused his soul power to be greatly reduced in quantity to make up for the quality of his soul power. The total amount remains unchanged, which can be seen as the density becomes larger, so the volume is smaller. Level 40, if it didn't fall below level 40. The sword grass's soul ring is already very powerful. It can't be regarded as the real ultimate attribute. Datsu shook his head. He knew the current situation of the Bluesilver Grass Wuhuan best. It can be said that with the blessing of the mutated sword grass, the life attribute of his Bluesilver Grass Wuhuan has been completely transformed. However, it was still a bit short. It is not that the quantity of life attributes is insufficient, nor is it that the quality is insufficient. The essence of the Bluesilver Grass is still too weak. But it's not that the evolution failed, but that it got fat in one bite. The attribute of the Bluesilver Grass has become the ultimate life attribute, but the strength of the martial soul itself has not kept up. Being weak in nature does not mean that the upper limit is locked, but the leap is too large, and it is not easy to digest. As time goes by, Suyu's Bluesilver Grass will gradually improve to the corresponding level. Suyu didn't have a clear standard for the previous 3 soul ring absorptions, so he didn't know whether he had made it or not. But now that the ultimate attribute has transformed, so you can clearly feel it, the attributes are excavated, and the martial soul is promoted to evolve. This is a very clear perception. My Bluesilver Grass still needs time to settle, and it will take a few years before it can transform into a true ultimate martial spirit. Jing Hongqian was not lost because of this. It doesn't matter. Although there are only extreme attributes for the time being, it is better than no hope. This has already belonged to Go In, but still not used to. Extreme life attribute, this is quite an explosive existence in the entire Douluo Continent, right? Ultimate ice, ultimate fire, these attributes are relatively common, because martial souls of the 2 attributes are very common, and ultimate power occasionally appears, but the ultimate life has really never been heard of. After absorbing the soul rings, the 3 of them returned to Mingdu at a relatively fast speed without any delay. On the way, Suyu also explained the effect of his 4th soul ring in more detail. My 4th soul skill is the Sword of Grass, which can attach sword energy to the Bluesilver Grass to attack. The strength of the sword energy can be increased with the improvement of my soul power, which is equivalent to the level of the mutant sword grass with the same soul. In addition, the 4th soul skill can also be used in conjunction with the God-slaying sword. Using the God-slaying sword to perform the 4th soul skill can gather the vitality of heaven and earth to form a shocking strike. The more soul power and vitality is condensed, the stronger the explosion will be. After listening to Suyu's introduction, Jing Hongqian was filled with emotion. He has seen the power of the mutated sword grass. At that time, the 16 suppressive bullets were all level 6, and they were suppressed in a joint manner. The sword and grass used point-breaking surface to break the restraints. The power of that blow was not weaker than Soul Saint's full blow. Jing Hongqian felt that under his pressure, the mutated sword grass had undergone a transformation at that moment, but he still killed him in the end, and he didn't dwell too much on it. The cultivation of ultimate attributes is very slow from level 30 to level 70, so you have to be mentally prepared. Before leaving, Jing Hongqian reminded Suyu, he was worried that Suyu would not be able to accept the fact that his soul power cultivation was so slow. After all, Suyu is only 13 years old now and has already reached level 40, after an average of 1 year, Suyu has improved 5.5 levels. After becoming the ultimate attribute, Suyu's training will be much more difficult, and he may not be able to advance to level 1 in a year. Only Shrek has trained soul masters with ultimate attributes. It is true that other academies have developed extreme attributes, but their cultivation is too slow and they cannot reach level 70, so they have not exerted the maximum effect of ultimate martial arts. Jing Hongqian didn't know what Shrek relied on to improve his ultimate attribute martial soul. However, their Sun and Moon Empire really has no shortage of resources for soul power cultivation. Medicinal baths, elixirs, and medicinal meals are all arranged. I still don't believe that Suyu can't grow up. Back in the dormitory, Suyu took out a round and plump pill and drank it. Jing Hongqian improved his treatment for him. Medicinal meals are no longer provided by the academy, but are provided by Mingdatang himself. They are all provided to Suyu according to the 7th level Soul Master's share. In addition to medicinal foods, there are also elixirs, various types of elixirs that assist in cultivation, and those with almost no side effects. One will be given to Suyu every month. There are also medicinal baths. Jing Hongqian has already ordered the relevant personnel of Mingda Hall to make arrangements. Just these 3 points show Jing Hongqian's determination to cultivate Suyu, not to mention Jing Hongqian. After Kong Deming came back and learned about Suyu's situation, he would probably provide other resources. Compared to Jing Hongqian, Suyu is not worried about his future cultivation speed. I have figured out many soul power movement routes before, which is enough to perfect and optimize the technique. Yi Lao has also woken up. Perhaps he can consult Yi Lao to improve his skills. Finally, spiritual power cultivation methods can also assist cultivation. Look here. Look here. Look here. Someone is setting the pace. Yesterday it really pissed me off. I usually don't curse, but yesterday I couldn't help it. Let me explain again. There is no leveling, the ultimate attributes are like this. I have made it very clear in this chapter. Everyone, although the protagonist's training is more difficult, his skills will be perfected, and his mental training will also move towards being able to the direction of assisting soul power cultivation is perfect, as well as Yi Lao. The overall protagonist's improvement speed will not decrease, but may be accelerated by me. Also, don't say that the quality of soul power doesn't work. The setting of whether it works or not is already very clear. The ultimate attribute is invincible at the same level. Why do you think it is invincible at the same level? Others said that they had to work hard to compress their soul power, but in the end they couldn't beat Hui Yuhao for a long time. Am I crazy or is the person who brought these beats crazy? Who has nothing to do so that a level 40 protagonist cannot beat a level 20 supporting character? Martial soul fusion skills. The protagonist can't interrupt, right? Who is so stupid as to know that someone else has martial soul fusion skills and give him a chance to fuse them? Ahem. The protagonist fights Xiao Hongqian and Meng Hongqian brothers and sisters on purpose, to show his strength, but he will definitely not do this in a formal competition. Why? How to win easily? In the end, those who still insisted that I was leveling up, absorbed a 10,000-year soul ring in the 4th ring, but level 41 was the leveling up. All I can say is, go read the original work. The 4th soul ring of King Do-Yi absorbs the soul ring of the 10,000-year underground demon spider. Do you know how many levels have been absorbed? 41 level. Okay, how should you respond? Chapter 45. He did it first. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A soul master with extreme attributes, the soul power he cultivates is extremely solid. This is also the reason why the ultimate martial soul cultivation speed is slow. The same is true for the ultimate life attribute, but it is slightly different. The life attribute itself also increases the amount of soul power. At the same level, the amount of soul power is even greater. The amount of soul power brought to Suyu by the ultimate life attribute is twice that of an ordinary soul master. However, the blessing will also have a corresponding cultivation speed, but it will have little impact on the upgrade speed. After a night of practice, Suyu had a deeper understanding of his situation. The speed of cultivation is indeed slower. With resource support, you can only upgrade to 2 levels in a year. But Suyu was not worried. If your cultivation is slow, then just solve it. As a wise soul master, he will not complain about how difficult cultivation is, but is more willing to solve difficult problems. Suyu's consciousness came to the sea of spirit and looked at the runes being outlined by purple energy mixed with spiritual power above the sea of spirit. Sword. A sword. First, while the feeling is clearest, outline the sword rune. Suyu accelerated his concentration of sword runes while sorting out his thoughts. Spiritual power outlined into runes can exert special effects. Since it can be used to cultivate spiritual power, it can also be used to cultivate soul power. Condensing characters can condense spiritual power. Why can't it condense soul power? If not, then the runes are not perfect enough. Then go ahead and add texture. The effects of spiritual runes should not be limited. In addition to increasing his mental attack methods, sword runes can also help Suyu refine his mental and soul power. Each rune should not have a single effect. Ilao, do you have any spiritual power cultivation method? Although Suyu has developed the rune method, Ilao is a mage, and his method of cultivating spiritual power must be clever. Your rune method is excellent. I can feel that if this system is improved, the upper limit will be very high. I suggest you continue to improve the rune method. As for my method of cultivating spiritual power, I can teach it to you, but it is just a meditation method. How to meditate? Suyu listened to Lao's explanation and understood the meditation method. Different from the meditation method in Douluo Continent, the meditation method mastered by Lao is the real meditation, emptying the mind and sensing the energy particles in the surrounding environment. In this process, try to use the perception of energy particles to integrate into the world and adjust the structure of your own mental power, thereby improving your mental power. The meditation method is only second. Magic is actually the most helpful to you, and it will help you perfect the rune method. Lao's words made Suyu excited. Magic. The magic structure I have mastered is somewhat incompatible with the rules of this plane, and needs to be slightly changed. After I complete the changes, I will teach them to you. Thank you, Mr. E. You're welcome. Lao's voice stopped ringing, and Suyu called several times without getting a response. Looks like he's going to transform magic. Suyu continued to practice for 3 hours, complete the outline of the sword rune in one breath. Boss, your treatment is too good. After practicing, I happened to have little money and helped Suyu bring food back to the dormitory. As soon as he entered the dormitory, he didn't have much money and couldn't help but ask Suyu what happened recently. He felt that this meal would cost at least 100 gold soul coins. Oh, it's nothing. It's just that after absorbing the soul ring this time, I have the ultimate attributes. Boss, what did you say? Extreme attributes. Qian Budwa muttered to himself, an ultimate attribute that Shrek Academy does not have now. Not having much money is a struggle. This is too impulsive, will be exposed. However, he has the ultimate attribute. In the end, I didn't have much money and decided to speak up. Boss, I heard that the cultivation of extreme attributes is extremely slow. Except for Shrek, there has never been a precedent for it to grow. So what? Suyu was eating the soul beast meat that contained rich soul power, glanced at the little fat man, and asked. So, for the sake of your future, boss, would you like to consider Shrek Academy? Are you blatantly poaching people? If that's the case, then I won't be polite. You dig mine first, I'll poach you in turn. Isn't that too much? Fat man, are you from Shrek? Suyu asked in a calm tone. Forget it, you don't have to quibble. I have already suspected it. Suyu looked calm when he saw that the money was not much money. My heart skipped a beat. From what he meant, it seemed like he had started to doubt me very early on. Suyu stood up, came to Qian Budwa, and slapped the little fat man back who was about to get up. He looked desperate because he didn't have much money. Can't beat it. It was too strong, much stronger than he imagined. Fat man, how much did Shrek Academy give you? Boss, it's impossible. My uncle is the deputy dean of Shrek's Soul Guidance Department. Qian Budwa shook his head and rejected Suyu's unsolicited solicitation. At that time, Suyu suspected the relationship between the two based on their names, but there was more than one family named Qian. In addition, no matter how he recalled the original work and checked the information, he came to the conclusion that Duo was single for 10,000 years. Where did the sun come from? Suyu patted Qian Zhao's shoulders with both hands and sighed in disappointment. Fat man, what I don't understand is why you think the Sun Moon Empire and Shrek Academy are opposites. Qian Zhao finally calmed down and was suddenly confused by Suyu's question. The subconscious reaction is to say that this is not common sense, but when I think about it carefully, I feel that it is wrong. Yes, why is Shrek hostile to the Sun and Moon Empire? Shrek claims to be neutral, so why are all the students so resistant to the Sun and Moon Empire? Qian Duo was silent for a long time, recalling the relationship between the two parties. Because the Sun and Moon Empire is an outsider. An invader? Suyu said again, I don't have much money and am speechless again. That's what I just wanted to say. If you ask in advance, what should I say? What exactly does Shrek Academy stand for? In other words, what is your philosophy? Does the so-called neutrality mean intervening in wars between empires? Money is not much. At this time, he was silent and did not answer. Is the conflict between empires something that an academy should deal with? Fat man, Shrek has already gone bad. These are just the tip of the iceberg. Think about it, among the concepts that Shrek upholds and the principles he teaches you, which ones are reasonable? How many of these reasonable concepts have been achieved by Shrek? That I don't have much money and I don't have a chance to speak. He was asked questions one after another by Suyu and made him doubt his life. Shrek, are you so miserable? Fat man, do you know why I'm telling you this? Chapter 46 CPU Dafa. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Fat man, do you know why I'm telling you this? Because I think you have your own thoughts. You didn't refute me just now, which means you haven't been brainwashed. You still have sense and can see all this clearly. Although he didn't have much money, he was shaken in his heart, but he had to admit many of the facts Suyu said. Shrek did have some shortcomings. Shrek Academy is just a group of hypocrites who protect their own interests under the banner of doing good for everyone. Qian Duo actually wanted to refute, but Suyu slapped his hand on the shoulder and made him swallow his words. Fat man, I'm not asking you to betray Shrek Academy, I'm just helping you see the truth. Shrek is not the Shrek you think he is. He has been on the wrong track a long time ago. At this time, it is even more necessary for you to correct it. You don't even need to make any changes, sacrifice blood, or take action against Shrek's top management. I just hope that, as a truly qualified Shrek student, you can correctly view the relationship between the Sun and Moon Empire and the original three empires. After all, the merged Douluo Continent is still Douluo Continent. The Sun and Moon Empire is also an empire that is related to the livelihood of millions of people. With not much money, I finally had some wavering. Yes, I'm not betraying Shrek, I just follow the path that I think is right. I have heard from my elders since I was a child that Shrek is fair and just and absolutely neutral, so I will do this. Fat man, don't think that I'm deceiving you or tempting you. Suyu felt it wasn't enough and continued to add more heat. Based on your experience and your opinions, let me ask you what's good about Shrek. Even in the Soul Master training that Shrek is best at, what are the things that the Sun and Moon Royal Soul Master Academy cannot match? Resources? Or training experience? Or information? Or the ability to match soul rings? Ask yourself, is the matching of soul rings guided by the college? I think most of them are the students' own plans. That I don't have much money and I don't know how to answer for a while. He recalled his experience of the past year and compared the differences between Shrek and the Sun and Moon Royal Soul Engineer Academy, and fell silent. Although I have never been to Shrek Academy, I have heard that it has the most traditional teaching model for soul masters. It is so traditional that it is rigid and does not know how to adapt. There is no way to refute the fact that there is not much money. It is the fact. Shrek Academy is indeed like this. He has never experienced the training of the Sun Moon Royal Soul Master Academy, but has only heard about the different teaching methods. He may still refute, defend Shrek, and insist that Shrek's teaching is effective. These remarks are just to discredit Shrek, but having truly practiced and experienced it with the Sun and Moon Royal Soul Master, I don't have enough money to refute it sincerely. You said, without those talented students, Shrek would still be Shrek. Suyu conducted a death question. You don't have confidence either, do you? Because you have seen that Shrek is far behind in terms of teaching model. It can only become stronger by relying on a large number of talented students. Qian Budua's expression felt bitter as he listened to Su Yu's inner thoughts. Yes, in fact, it's not just about cultivation. Conceptually, he also discovered many errors and omissions in Shrek's teachings. In his study and life at Sun Moon Royal Soul Engineer Academy, he also discovered differences bit by bit. Shrek's concept, to put it bluntly, is like a group of hooligans. It is undeniable that the real top soul masters all come from Shrek. Although many soul masters with outstanding talents have become useless among Shrek, the ones who stand out are indeed the strong ones. For example, the owners of the ultimate martial spirit, the only ones who have cultivated the ultimate martial spirit to the level of title Douluo, even super Douluo, or even extreme Douluo, are Shrek students. But why is it that only Shrek can cultivate a martial spirit with extreme attributes? Because Shrek has a golden tree. The golden tree is the core of the entire Douluo Continent. Shrek cultivates strong people. Do they know how to cultivate people? No. They are the ones who have the golden tree. With the same resources and the same talent, any academy is likely to do better than Shrek. Su Yu's analysis left Qian Budua speechless, having the best resources, but not reaching the maximum. It's just a matter of relying on strength to forcefully occupy resources. But how did Shrek obtain these conditions? Hypocritical. Such a situation can be perfectly summed up in one word. Su Yu paused, looked at Fatty Qian and said, "Virtue is not worthy of its place." He didn't have much money, and his back was covered in cold sweat at the moment. Shrek has reached such a situation. If he doesn't change, he will surely perish. Fat man, think about it carefully. Su Yu didn't continue talking. He has said enough. Boom. The dormitory door was kicked open. Xiao Hongchen broke in. "Is that you?" Shrek spy, but he looked at the money and expressed doubt. This little fat guy is harmless, or is he a spy? But since Su Yu has spread the news, it must be the case. Senior Xiao, just lock him up. Fatty is a good comrade, so don't abuse him. Su Yu whispered in Xiao Hongchen's ear. Okay. Xiao Hongchen agreed. Qian was not much and was carried away by Xiao Hongchen in a daze. No. You tell me so much, but I'm still going to be arrested in the end. How am I going to report this? Su Yu didn't intend to persuade Qian Budua to get the whole CPU over with just one persuasion. He just gave Qian Budua a psychological hint first. After he digested what he said today, Su Yu had a second paragraph. Since it is related to Qian Duo, there is always a chance to get in touch with Qian Duo. What's the use of a fat little CPU? By the time he grows up and becomes useful, Su Yu himself has become a god. The most important thing is to contact the big fat man from the little fat man. Su Yu finished the uneaten medicinal meal and then began to practice. After refining the soul power in the medicinal diet, he began to try the method of meditation. In Su Yu's opinion, the meditation method taught by Yi Lao should be called induction method. Sensing the heaven and earth, adjusting one's own spiritual power to be more in tune with the heaven and earth, and nourishing the spirit with the heaven and earth. At this moment, Su Yu was trying this induction method. Change to induction method to avoid confusion. Empty your mind and sense the vitality between heaven and earth. Feel the fluctuations of vitality. Su Yu's mental power has reached a high level and he easily achieved the first step. Then comes meditation, integrating yourself into the world. According to what Yi Lao said, Su Yu began to meditate. The sea of spirit is violently rolling. Su Yu's mental structure began to change. The entire mental space was turned upside down. The two runes erupted into a purple halo, covering the entire spiritual sea and stabilizing the spiritual sea. Chapter 47: The Effect of Ultimate Life Attribute. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Su Yu successfully introduced the induction method, and his spiritual power initially integrated into the world. In the future, as long as you enter the meditative state of the induction method, you will be able to be nourished by his nature at all times and improve your mental power. As Su Yu deepens his understanding of the world and the integration of his spiritual power, The speed of this accumulation will become faster and faster, in the Sea of Spirit, the two runes of condensation and gathering emit a purple halo, exerting their respective effects. Time flies, so you did not continue to study more advanced soul guidance device production during this period. The soul power has broken through the soul sect, and the 4th level soul guide is no longer a problem for him, but he went back to study the 3rd level soul guide, before Kong Deming left. He also gave Suyu a large number of drawings of level 3 soul guides. Suyu turned them out at this moment, not to grasp them. He began to summarize the patterns of various effects in the core arrays of a large number of soul tools. The core array of the soul guide itself is also the law of energy operation in Douluo Continent. Specific soul power movement patterns exert specific effects. Review and summarize the core array patterns of the 3rd level soul guide, and select and record the useful patterns among them. The final combination is paired together to enrich the rune method. The lines of the condensed runes are gradually increasing, the effect is also strengthened, and the scope of action is wider. The month passed quickly. Junior Suyu, I will trouble you this time. Meng Hongqian said. Suyu waved his hand and said, it doesn't matter. If Senior Meng can break through to level 50 and absorb the Soul Ring to reach the Soul King, the Academy's hope of winning the championship in the next soul fighting competition will be greater. Xiaoyu, Yi Menghui, and Xiao use the characteristics of martial soul fusion to practice, and take pills containing ice and fire energy to stimulate breakthroughs, but Meng's martial soul will have toxins that will backfire. When the time comes, you will need to use your 2nd soul skill to help her purify the toxins, and your 1st soul skill to provide her with vitality. Last time Suyu casually gave Meng Hongqian a sip of milk, and the effect was obvious. Although Suyu's purification power cannot completely remove toxins, it can temporarily block the effects of toxins. That is to say, the toxin still stays in Meng Hongqian's body, but it is temporarily unable to cause harm to Meng Hongqian. The vitality provided by the 1st soul skill Star Spirit can also improve Meng Hongqian's condition, helping her better resist toxins and eliminate toxins. Although the effect was not very obvious, Suyu just took a sip of milk at that time. Now that Suyu's soul power has increased, his martial soul has evolved twice and has ultimate attributes. Although according to Suyu's feeling, the strength of his martial soul is still improving and has not really reached the corresponding level, the attribute of ultimate life is real and has no less of the effects it should have. With full support, Meng Hongqian's breakthrough this time will be much easier and more confident. Dream, let's begin. Meng Hongqian nodded and took out an ice blue pill and a fiery red pill respectively. 2 pills were swallowed into the mouth at the same time. The 1st soul skill, the power of the stars. Suyu's 1st soul ring glowed brightly, and a high-quality vitality was injected into Meng Hongqian's body. Meng Hongqian had an unusually fulfilling feeling, and that energy filled her to the brim. Even the toxins that had been accumulated in the body were greatly reduced after the injection of this life force. The ultimate vitality can actually remove this toxin. This was something that the vitality of Suyu's Bluesilver Grass could not be achieved before. Is this the ultimate attribute? Meng Hongqian was extremely pleasantly surprised and felt even more confident. Directly circulate the soul power to spread the medicinal power of the 2 pills to all parts of the body. Suyu used his soul skill and felt the effect of his own vitality, and raised his eyebrows. Yes, I got the ability to resist poison for nothing. The 2nd soul skill, Purple Moon Purification, that he immediately used his 2nd soul skill, wanting to see if the 2nd soul skill with the ultimate life attribute would be more effective in purifying toxins. Sure enough, as Suyu performed his 2nd soul skill, Meng Hongqian felt that most of the toxins accumulated in his body for many years were suddenly eliminated. My body instantly felt much more relaxed. As for the new toxins produced by her refining the ice and fire energy contained in the elixir, the impact on her was minimal. The toxins that had been accumulated in the body for many years could be purified with obvious effects. Most of the poisons that had not yet had time to take root in her body were immediately purified by Suyu's purification power. The remaining toxins were also suppressed and had no effect. Meng Hongqian can easily expel it from his body in just one movement. So simple. Meng Hongqian had never thought that cultivation could be so simple. There is no need to expend energy to deal with the erosion of toxins, and there is no need to endure the pain caused by toxins. Meng Hongqian cherishes this kind of practice. She tried her best to refine the power of the 2 pills, continuously accumulated soul power, and charged towards the bottleneck. Perhaps it was the completely different cultivation experience and the completely relaxed mind that made her breakthrough this time particularly smooth. Soon, cracks appeared in Meng Hongqin's bottleneck. Jing Hongqin's mental strength paid close attention to Meng Hongqin's cultivation throughout the whole process, fearing that due to the large-scale refining of ice and fire energy, the rapid accumulation of soul power would cause the cold fire poison to explode and cause harm to Meng Hongqin. His worries proved to be unfounded. Su Yu's ultimate life attribute is more reliable than imagined. The first soul skill, the power of the stars. Su Yu's first soul ring was even more dazzling. This time he blessed himself with the first soul skill. The first soul skill he uses on others is to inject vitality into the target and restore the opponent's soul power and physical strength. When used on oneself, it absorbs and digests the power of the stars and restores soul power and physical strength. Meng Hongqin's breakthrough took 3 days, even though Su Yu was exerting his soul power and recovering at the same time. He was still exhausted. However, the high-intensity use of martial arts also made his mastery of martial arts more profound, especially the control of vitality. The most fundamental aspect of all Su Yu's self-created soul skills lies in the use of vitality. The improvement in the control level of his vitality also means the strengthening of the power and effect of his self-created soul skills. He even has a deeper understanding of self-created soul skills. Understanding is sometimes the most essential thing. The more thorough the principle, the easier it will be to operate. A powerful wave of soul power came from Meng Hongqin. Breakthrough. Su Yu increased his vitality input to help Meng Hongqin survive the toxin backlash caused by the soul power breakthrough. Another hour later. Thank you so much this time, Junior Su Yu. You're welcome. After this time, I have better control over my life force. What's more, this time the Hall Master also personally gave him a large reward. At this moment, there is a soul bone in Su Yu's storage soul guide. Although it is only 1,000 years, Su Yu will definitely not absorb it, but the research is of great significance. If it is left to Yi Lao, he may be able to research something. Chapter 48 Simplification. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This soul bone is very interesting. The soul bone is in Su Yu's storage soul guide, and Electrolux consciousness can observe it at any time. Although it is only 1,000-year soul bone, it is more than enough for research. Yi Lao is also interested in soul bones. As a mage, it is natural to love research and be curious about new things. Su Yu himself had no bitterness or hatred, and he did not evoke painful memories for Electrolux. Naturally, Electrolux did not deliberately recall those pains. On the contrary, when he saw a novel world, a unique training system, and martial soul rings and soul bones, his desire to explore was unprecedentedly strong. The technique is finally put together. The soul power in Su Yu's body finally ran according to a specific circuit for a week. Although it takes more time to run for a week than before, the overall efficiency has been greatly improved. In the past, there were only 2 basic structures of exercises, and they only took an hour to run every week. The current exercise requires 3 hours to run for 1 week. The operation of soul power is even more complicated. However, high efficiency is the biggest gain. In the past 3 weeks, if the total increase in soul power was 3, then with the current technique, the increase in soul power would be about 5 in 1 week. It's not twice as effective, but it's still impressive. Facts have proved that for the cultivation of the ultimate martial soul, the best way to perfect the technique is to have the effect of condensing soul power. We don't talk about condensing soul power, but this aspect must be included. While improving the soul power, one is actively condensing the soul power, rather than just filling the body with soul power. The quality of the soul power relies entirely on the ultimate attributes and physical body to subtly compress it. This is the best way to solve the impact of slow cultivation of ultimate martial arts. We still need to continue to explore the method of soul power operation. This round of integration of the soul power operation method has been completed. In the next round, if enough routes are found, Su Yu will continue to add to the exercises. However, the process of streamlining cannot be stopped. Just like the core array of the soul guide, the path of soul power in the body cannot be simply combined in a fool style. To be combined organically, this is the knowledge point that the core array of the 4th level soul guide begins to involve. Different textures are connected and combined to form the core array, but there are too many lines accumulated in this way, and it is too difficult to draw at the level of a 4th level soul guide. At this time, it is necessary to streamline the core array. This is also a watershed for soul mentors. Different lines can be connected and combined with each other to form a complete circuit, thus forming various magic arrays, which can exert corresponding effects under the operation of soul power. However, there are too many lines, and the accumulation has reached the 3rd level. In fact, it can be said to be the limit. I want to make the power of the soul guide reach the 4th level. In theory, different textures could overlap and intertwine to cover almost the entire surface of the rare metal. That is to say, after this part of the pattern is engraved, the entire surface of the rare metal has been shaved off. This is also the most embarrassing. There is no difference at all from the unengraved magic circle. In the end, the magic circle still needs to be stabilized with mental power. It is destined to be unable to be stabilized and made into a soul guide. This is when you need to learn to simplify. Make the overlapping parts of the textures common. For example, the texture of 1234 and the texture of 23,456 can be simplified into the texture of 123,456. You only need to use a specific method to burn between 1 and 2, 4 and 5 when carving them, and you can have the effect of 2 textures at the same time. This is organic overlay. Of course, this is organic overlay at its simplest. The real difficulty is to streamline the combination of a large number of different textures. For example, the superposition of 1234 and 2356. Especially for 2356, where a part is interrupted, it is necessary to select a pattern with a 345 structure to resonate with the rest of the entire core array to complete the organic combination. At this time, Su Yu's understanding was fully demonstrated. Similar to the simplification of the core magic circle of the soul guide, Su Yu's simplification of the exercises also follows this principle. The difference is that you can adjust the position of the lines by yourself when outlining the core array, and the lines have not been drawn yet. The movement routes of the exercises are different, because there are already fixed meridians in the human body, and this requires a large number of meridians distributed in the human body. The more comprehensive the better. This aspect is not difficult to obtain at the Sun and Moon Royal Soul Engineer Academy. The Sun and Moon Empire just doesn't have strong people and doesn't pay attention to the cultivation of soul masters. But that doesn't mean that the Sun and Moon Empire's information on soul master training is incomplete. Isn't just a soul guidance instrument that tests the soul master's all-round data enough to explain everything. I'll test the strength of my martial spirit for you. Find the structure you want in the existing position, and connect them together to make it as streamlined as possible. More difficult. But the significance is not small. After all, the more streamlined the technique, the easier it is to operate. It consumes less time, but the amplitude of improvement remains the same, so it is naturally more efficient. In addition to the techniques, there is also the perfection of the runes within the spiritual sea. While Su Yu is adding texture, he is also streamlining it. As for the sword rune, it has been a month since it was sketched out, and Su Yu has perfected it to the point where it has the effect of tempering mental and soul power. 3 runes of condensation, gathering, and sword are still not enough. You can add new runes. Su Yu wanted too many rune effects. After all, the 3 runes have their own frameworks, and there are limits to how they can be filled and perfected, so now Su Yu is looking at the new runes. The vitality of Bluesilver Grass does not need to be improved for the time being. I can try to generate runes later when I have time. Now you need a protective rune first. The soul fighting competition is coming soon, and Su Yu feels that he is still a little bit behind in this aspect. Mental protection is particularly important. It is impossible for Su Yu to rely on Ilao for everything, because he ignores the protection of his own spiritual sea because of Ilao's presence. External forces are, after all, external forces. You can rely on it, but it cannot be relied upon. After Su Yu helped Meng Hongchen break through, he only studied and practiced quietly for 3 days before he was approached again. Su Yu, I'm going to trouble you again this time. That it was Xiao Hongchen who came here. Senior Xiao, what happened this time? Meng has stabilized his soul power. Grandpa said that he still needs your help in absorbing the soul ring this time. Suyu nodded. When to set off? Tomorrow. After Suyu absorbed the purple energy from the sky the next day, he came to Jing Hongchen's office. Xiaoyu is here. Well, Hall Master, when will we set off? Meng has already prepared it. You can leave now. Is there any problem with you? Can. By the way, Hall Master, do you know when my teacher will be back? Suyu hasn't seen his teacher for a long time and misses him. Chapter 49 The Far North. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Kong Deming has been away for some time, Suyu still missed it, although the core array pattern streamlining technology in the 4th level Soul Guide is not difficult to understand, but many of these techniques are still cumbersome to learn. Suyu was able to solve a high-level math problem, but this process wasted a lot of time. It would be faster to have the teacher take him through it directly. Moreover, many of the problems Suyu is encountering now cannot be explained by the 4th level Soul Guidance theory. The perfection of the condensation and gathering runes was therefore stuck in a bottleneck, which was one of the reasons why he started building new runes. Mr. Kong, you should be back soon. Jing Hongchen hadn't seen Kong Deming for a long time. If the other party hadn't sent messages from time to time asking him to check on Suyu's cultivation progress, he would have suspected that Kong Deming had an accident. Suyu nodded, feeling a little worried. Kong Deming's life safety is one thing, after all, it is the seed-inging needle of the Sun and Moon Empire. If something unexpected happens, the situation in the entire Douluo Continent may change. In addition, it is the soul fighting competition. The leader of Shrek was the supreme elder of the Holy Spirit sect, and Suyu was very frightened. If someone hits hard in the ring, then the shameless person will really take action. No, it's not just heavy-handed, maybe because of you. Shrek was defeated and 10,000 years of glory were destroyed, and he would take action in anger. Therefore, having someone who can give him a sense of security to lead the team to compete is what Suyu needs to prepare for. My own teacher is naturally my first choice, although he is not an ultimate Douluo, or even a super Douluo, he has half a foot in the existence of a 10th level Soul Master. The overall threat level is no less than extreme Douluo. If Kong Deming cannot come back, so you can only explain the pros and cons to Jing Hongchen and ask him to take charge. Mr. Kong told me that if you don't understand anything about soul guidance devices, you can ask me. Jing Hongchen thought that Suyu had encountered a bottleneck in his research on soul guidance devices, so he said. It just so happens that this time we are going to the far north. The journey is long and there is plenty of time on the way. Let me answer your questions. Suyu didn't show any pretense and nodded. The perfection of the technique and the outline of the runes are all things that the sooner you complete them, the sooner you will benefit. We don't know how much time it will take this time. The last time Suyu and Xiao Hongchen searched for the soul beast, it took them nearly 2 months. This is just in the Jingyang Mountains. A round trip to the far north may take more than half a month. Moreover, the soul beasts in the far north are even more difficult to find. Maybe this trip will take longer than last time. There are still 3 months left in the soul fighting competition. The academy just started 2 days ago, and in a few days the contestants will be selected. I have already given quotas to Suyu and Meng, so there is no need to worry about this. It should be noted that if we delay this time, we will go directly to Xinglua City. Jing Hongchen said to Xiao Hongchen, after all instructions were given. Jing Hongchen, Suyu, Meng Hongchen and the others left the academy. With the flying soul guide, they reached the small town on the edge of the far north in just 5 days. Going further in, you can't use the flying soul guide. The environment in the far north is too harsh to use flying soul guides to travel. The 3 of them took off their flying soul guides, put on the prepared heating soul guides, and continued deeper. Another 3 days. We are now on the outskirts of the far north. Meng's vermilion-eyed ice toad has the attributes of ice and fire. Soul beasts with corresponding attributes are difficult to find, so the tentative target is the vermilion-eyed ice toad. The vermilion-eyed ice toad lives on the outskirts of the far north. Through Mingdatang's intelligence, I have also identified several areas where the vermilion-eyed ice toad has been infested for thousands of years. Jing Hongchen took out a map, pointed on it, and circled several of their destinations. There is not much information about the far north. I only know this because Zhu Jingbing toad lives in the periphery and deliberately collects it. Next, You two can't stay away from my sight, it's best to always be ready to release your martial soul to fight. The biting cold wind in the far north is mixed with snowflakes, and the sky is covered with snowy white. If you wait in place for a minute, it will be covered with snowflakes. In such an environment, there might be a soul beast hiding almost anywhere. The most terrible thing is that this is the far north. Many soul beasts maintain extremely low vital signs, even when they rest. It is similar to hibernation, and even the soul power breath is difficult to sense. Therefore, even if there is a soul beast sleeping under your feet, you may not be able to feel it. My mental power always covers the surrounding area of 100 meters, so this extreme situation will not happen, but you can be careful in everything and you will never make a big mistake. Jing Hongchen is a tidal Douluo and can withstand the weather here. Meng Hongchen's martial spirit is Zhu Jing Bing Chan, which is also relatively easy. As for Su Yu, he has taken the 9th grade Snow Lotus and can still move normally at this moment. Xiao Hongchen was completely different. He was probably still a drag when he got here, so I didn't bring him here this time. Grandpa, are you really talking about soul guides? Meng Hongchen could not understand the theories discussed by Su Yu and Jing Hongchen. What are they talking about? Su Yu was asking questions in the name of the soul guide, but the real core of the problem had always been the construction of the runes. His rune method is similar to the method of void engraving. It does not need to consider the inscription on rare metals. It is more complicated and unrestricted. Instead, this touches on Meng Hongchen's blind spot. Therefore, although many of the pattern names were the basis of the soul guide, the combination methods and concepts made her unable to understand them. Moreover, there is still a difference between Su Yu's rune method and the core array of the soul guide. The foundation of the rune method lies in the integrity and stability of the final rune. Every path outlined by the void is also interconnected to maintain stability and can exist stably with the flow of spiritual power. This is the foundation of Su Yu's rune method. In the process of answering Su Yu's questions, Jing Hongchen gradually gained a vague idea of what Su Yu was studying. In addition, what Su Yu asked about was also about the construction of magic array patterns involving mental power. He was basically sure that Su Yu was trying to use the core magic circle of the soul guide to assist in the cultivation of mental power. After all, even Jing Hongchen's idea for researching fused soul guidance technology was provided by Su Yu. Su Yu didn't shy away from it either. After Jing Hongchen roughly guessed it, he didn't hide it. Genius idea. On the one hand, Jing Hongchen was shocked by Su Yu's level of mental power, and on the other hand, he admired Su Yu's rune technique. Although the threshold for your rune method is high, you can practice it almost forever. Can other people practice your runic method? After Jing Hongchen thought for a while, he still asked. In fact, this rune method is of great significance, especially for soul engineers. Everyone adds fuel to the flames, but I don't think it's suitable for widespread dissemination at the moment. Chapter 50 The Disturbed Titan Snow Demon. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Su Yu had no objection to the spread of the rune method. After all, some cultivation methods were created just for people to practice, but before that, it is still necessary for the pioneers to establish their own absolute advantage. Su Yu is not a great saint. The rune method can be spread widely, but he himself must establish an absolute status. Now is obviously not the time to really spread. Moreover, once the rune method spreads on a large scale, it will inevitably be impossible to keep it secret. Now that there is a way to cultivate spiritual power, Shrek may benefit the most. The method of spiritual power cultivation is prevalent in the entire Douluo Continent, which is a big change. The unification of the Sun and Moon Empire is already the general trend, but it would be bad if there are changes at this time. Moreover, there is no obligation to popularize the cultivation method that one created. In this Douluo Continent, is there still little inheritance of broomsticks? In fact, Jing Hongchen had no intention of letting Su Yu spread it. Why should we spread such a good thing in such a hurry? The most important thing is to practice yourself first and widen the gap with others. Jing Hongchen felt that for the time being, Su Yu and Kong Deming would be enough to practice the runes with him and his grandchildren. Even if he didn't know the existence of this rune method, it would be the most normal development for Su Yu and Kong Deming to practice it. What Su Yu said is not suitable for large-scale dissemination. Jing Hongchen also understood the underlying meaning, just as he intended. Meng, after this soul fighting competition, you and Xiao will take the soul enlightening pill, strive to open the Sea of Spirit, and then practice the rune method. Soul Enlightenment Pill. This is a unique elixir of the Hongqian family, which can assist the Soul Master to open up the Sea of Spirit. This elixir only has a stimulating effect and can open the Sea of Spirit in advance, but the improvement of mental power is not obvious. The required medicinal materials are extremely precious, so except for special circumstances, this soul enlightening pill is rarely used. Things are different now. The price-performance ratio of the soul revealing pill has improved. Jing Hongqian also plans to refine 2 pills for the brother and sister. Yeah. Meng Hongqian nodded. Next, looking for an opportunity for the soul beast to rest, while Su Yu and Jing Hongqian discussed the rune method, Meng Hongqian also began to practice the void inscription method. This is considered a prerequisite skill of rune law. With Jing Hongqian's explanation, she was not slow to get started. The danger in the far north is greater than any other soul beast forest, so don't be careless. It is said that there are more 100,000-year soul beasts here than in the Star Do forest. Jing Hongqian's face was solemn and he reminded Su Yu and the others. Trouble. What makes Jing Hongqian so cautious is at least 100,000-year-old spirit beast. Even ordinary 100,000-year soul beasts are not enough to make him so serious. Damn, this is just the outskirts of the far north. How could the Titan Snow Demon come here? Hearing Jing Hongqian's words, Su Yu was horrified. He knew very well what level of existence the Titan Snow Demon King was, one of the 3 heavenly kings of the far north. Although he is only the last one with only 200,000 years of cultivation, his strength is truly terrifying. The Titan Snow Demon possesses the blood of the ice god within his body. Combined with his own racial talent as a Titan, he not only possesses the attributes of quasi-extreme ice, but also has an extremely large body and possesses near-extreme power. The ice attribute of the Titan Snow Demon has broken through the racial limits and reached the ultimate level. In the environment of the far north, there is another layer of bonus to combat power. Even Jing Hongqian couldn't beat this Titan Snow Demon 1v1. The Titan Snow Demon also has spiritual attributes. At the same time that Jing Hongqian discovered him, he discovered Su Yu and the others. Dear King of the Far North, we entered the Far North by mistake without any ill intentions. We are leaving now. Humans who trespass into the Far North will die. There was anger in the Titan Snow Demon King's voice. The already suffocating soul pressure was mixed with this angry mental shock, making Su Yu's face turn pale. What Su Yu didn't understand was why the Titan Snow Demon King came to such an outskirts. You have to die clearly, right? Of course, Su Yu was actually confident of surviving. With the divine light shield given by Kong Deming on his body and Yi Lao's demi-plane of the undead, there is no problem in saving his life. Strictly speaking, he was more curious. Red-eyed ice toad. Jing Hongqian's mental power was fully activated, and the detection range was not small. He noticed the existence of other soul beasts in the distance. Feeling the other person's restless breath and looking at the messy scene, he understood something. Human, die. On the huge hands of the Titan Snow Demon, there was already a terrifying ice attribute soul power condensed. If you take action, I can guarantee that none of those Zhu-eyed ice toads will survive. Jing Hongqian was instantly possessed by his martial soul and used his martial soul's true form. The first 7 soul rings all shone with brilliant brilliance. The 8th and 9th soul rings are faintly waiting to be released. The Titan Snow Demon has yet to break out. Even he felt a hint of threat from Jing Hongqian at this moment. This is a combined soul cannon, Su Yu guessed in his mind as he looked at the array of soul cannons on Jing Hongqian that was completely different from the one he used to hunt soul beasts in the Jingyang Mountains. From this point of view, the limit of the fixed soul cannon that Jing Hongqian could deploy instantly was level 6. But he can rely on 16 level 6 fixed soul cannons to combine with each other to unleash the power of an 8th level fixed soul cannon. Obviously, this also requires the cooperation of his 8th and 9th soul skills. It may only have the power of one blow, but the deterrent effect is full. In terms of numerical value, the 9th level fixed soul-guided artillery shell has the power of an ultimate Douluo's full blow. As for the 8th level fixed soul-guided artillery shell, the front side could completely bear the damage. Even the Titan Snow Demon would be severely damaged. This is not the most important. The Titan Snow Demon is not facing a mortal threat. What really scares him is Jing Hongqian's explosive power and words. If he were to be seriously injured,
then those Zhu Jingbing toads behind him would definitely not survive. There are as many as 13 vermilion-eyed ice toads behind the Titan Snow Demon King. Among them, the one with the highest cultivation level is 50,000 years old, but obviously they cannot resist it. Even the 7th level custom-installed soul-guided artillery shells can't withstand it. The Titan Snow Demon King was furious. I came out to vent, but I was impatient to be interrupted midway, and now I am still being threatened. Who in the far north doesn't know that the red-eyed ice toad here is protected by his Titan Snow Demon King? The red-eyed ice toad here evaporates overnight. Where is his face? The Titan Snow Demon King is afraid, but he had no intention of letting Jing Hongchen and others go. He still has the same attitude. Those who enter the far north will die. As the 3 kings of the far north, he himself has the responsibility to protect the far north. Face or responsibility, choose one. At a glance, Jing Hongchen and the others knew that they had come to the far north to hunt soul beasts and obtain soul rings. Must kill. The far north is isolated from the rest of the world. The far north is poorly understood by the outside world. Likewise, the far north is not well known to the outside world. This fear of the Titan Snow Demon King, as soon as he hesitated, increased the stakes for Jing Hongchen. Terrifying metal energy gathered together, and outside Jing Hongchen's huge toad body, the metal grew rapidly. After a while, a fortress emerged.